Welcome back to Universally Speaking, ladies and gentlemen, and this is the No Way Out special where we take you through all the massive matches that you can expect as we make our final major stop before WrestleMania. So let's not waste any time, let's jump right into what you can expect. We start not with a match, but with Edge. Edge returned recently at the Royal Rumble, and boy, did he return in a big way. Edge would cost Brock Lesnar his opportunity to become the World Heavyweight Champion after being cleared recently to return to in-ring action. He, of course, was forced into retirement years ago and has since worked his way back to being cleared. He set his sights firmly on the Beast. But the big question was why? But if you cast your mind back, it's not hard to figure it out. Of course, when Edge was the general manager of SmackDown, it was Lesnar who forced him out of that role after a devastating F5 to the then injured superstar. Edge wouldn't let this go and would fight tooth and nail to get back. Now that he wants Lesnar. But Lesnar has proved elusive. So Edge laid it all bare and said, if you don't want to show up to TV tapings, how about a pay-per-view? So Edge is going to Detroit, and he's going to call out the Beast. But will he show up? We're going to have to wait and see. Up next is the first of an abundance of championship matches as Sanity goes toe-to-toe with Orton and Lashley, who now want to be referred to as Apex Dominance. Sanity's rule over the tag team division on SmackDown has been chaotic and lengthy, and you add to that the return of Dane and Wolf to the fold as well, and it's only made them stronger. Orton and Lashley have formed a bond over the last few months, and now it seems as though they're finally cohesive enough to attack the top of the division. While you might not agree with how they ascended to the top of the mountain in the tag team division, given the help from hired gun, of course, Dexter Lumis, you have to respect these two incredible professional wrestlers. Alone, they are devastating. Together, they are straight up dominant. Can they prize the tag titles from the walking tornado that is Sanity? Let us know in the comments below. In another tussle for the gold, we will see the Intercontinental Championship defended by Keith Lee against, that's right, Dominik Mysterio. This incredibly unlikely matchup is likely to cause some confusion, but when you look back at the history Keith Lee has with the Mysterio family, it all begins to take shape. Lee, of course, entered into a best-of-7 series against Rey Mysterio and would dominate the legend 4-1. Many believe that Keith Lee was rather disrespectful in his approach to Mysterio, and it was shown to be the case, prompting a fight at the Royal Rumble between Cain Velasquez and Keith Lee. That would culminate at the Royal Rumble, of course. Lee would get the better of that one as well, and would have a few choice words for the family on the way out. But that wouldn't be all we would hear from the Mysterio family. No. Eventually, Dominik had heard enough, and he wanted to fight Keith Lee as well. So Rey took Dominik under his wing. He told him to tread carefully. But will Dominik heed the advice of his Hall of Fame-bound father? Or will he be yet another footnote on the legacy of Keith Lee? Now, when we talk legacy, we're talking Andrade Cien Almas. He is without question the most dominant United States champion in series history, and he's spoken extensively about what that championship means to him. He says it's all about respect, and this next match is absolutely no different. It was in fact Almas who challenged Cedric Alexander to this match, as he had been keeping a close eye on the young superstar. He believes that Alexander is in fact the rightful challenger of the championship, and he believes that if you've done the work, then you deserve the reward. Almas is a fighting champion, and Alexander is a fighter. This one's been built on respect, and it's a real sleeper for the match of the night. Hell, maybe even match of the series. It's Mr. 5-Star Almas versus arguably the most talented in-ring performer in the division. And this one, you simply cannot miss. The championship matches roll on with the Raw Women's Championship being defended by Rhea Ripley. Ripley is undefeated since arriving in the WWE and was thrust directly into the spotlight with a victory over Shayna Baszler. But she has since defended the championship gallantly against all comers, This latest challenge may be the most unique and toughest to date. Ruby Riott made an instant impact on Raw since being traded from SmackDown after the Royal Rumble. She thrust herself directly into the title picture with a massive triple threat win to secure a spot on the pay-per-view. Riott believes that Ripley is looking past her and simply looking towards WrestleMania, which would be an enormous mistake in my opinion if this was to be the case. Can Riott overcome the seemingly insurmountable Ripley? We will have to wait and see at the pay-per-view. But the Stacked Women's Division is sure to deliver again when Toni Storm defends her SmackDown Women's Championship against Sonya Deville. Now this match wasn't always on the card. It was set to be Toni Storm versus Ronda Rousey. But as always in the WWE, things can change in a heartbeat. Rousey had just defeated Sonya Deville in a classic tussle in the main event of SmackDown, but as the show went off the air, Nikki would cross the line. She absolutely dismantled Rousey and sent her through a flaming table with a pile driver from the apron, rendering Rousey out of action almost as quick as she came in. So General Manager EC3 was forced to make a quick decision and decided that Charlotte would face off with Sonya Deville for the right to face Storm at No Way Out, and it was Deville that would take her second chance and win the match. So with limited time to prepare for Deville, will that be a problem for Storm? Or will she carry on this trend of winning the big matches when it really matters? But that won't be all that we will see from the women on this show. We have a massive announcement to come from Shotzi Blackheart. We are going to find out who she will face at WrestleMania. Shotzi, of course, won the Women's Royal Rumble match and wanted to make an informed decision, so she embarked on a world tour, going to all three brands to check out the competition, and oh boy, did she cross some paths along the way. Having run-ins with each of the brand's champions, never has a choice been so hotly debated, but at No Way Out, we will wonder no more. Shotzi Blackheart makes her decision live on pay-per-view. Now, unlike Shotzi Blackheart, we already know this next person's choice after winning the Men's Royal Rumble. Apollo Crews made his decision clear. He wants to break away from the pack mentality of ESM and go out on his own. After a run-in with The Fiend, who took him back through his entire history of terror as the leader of Elite Sports Management, Apollo Crews appears to have been healed by the demonic Wyatt. Apollo Crews would return to the ring in the Royal Rumble, eliminating both Chad Gable and Daniel Bryan to win the match. Crews would signal that he wanted to face the new leader of ESM, Daniel Bryan, at WrestleMania, and it appeared that that was going to be the case. Of course, until ESM would flex their muscle. Paul Heyman would announce that Crews was in fact still under contract with ESM, and therefore would not be allowing him to fight. Seemingly hamstrung to an ironclad contract, it would appear that the former jewel in the crown would take matters into his own hands. This is where things get complicated. It was all done under a mysterious mask. Many have speculated that the masked man who attacked Daniel Bryan and Chad Gable isn't in fact Apollo Crews, as Elite Sports Management have an abundance of enemies pretty much all over the company. But Paul Heyman is convinced that it is in fact Crews, and it's hard to argue with his reasoning. If it is Crews, then he got the result that he wanted. Heyman, out of frustration, would set up a match between Chad Gable and Apollo Crews for No Way Out, and ironically, giving Crews a potential way out of ESM, imploring Crews to take the mask off and be a man and front up to his actions. But there is one major caveat to this match. If Crews wins, sure, he's free to leave his ESM contract, free to challenge Daniel Bryan at WrestleMania. But if he loses, he is tied to an ironclad ESM contract, which would effectively make him ESM property for the rest of his in-ring career. To say there's a lot on the line in this one is a massive, massive understatement. We now come to the match that will unquestionably be one of the most anticipated of the night, the Elimination Chamber. Raw fell into even more chaos than usual in the fallout from the Royal Rumble, and Shane McMahon cited 6 main culprits: Drew McIntyre, Tommaso Ciampa, AJ Styles, Finn Balor, Roman Reigns, and Kane. These 6 men tore the entire show apart, and in an attempt to quell the danger, Shane McMahon seems to have created even more chaos. But in his mind, this match is to control the chaos. 6 men enter the chamber. Only one can be the winner. And ladies and gentlemen, we can inform you exclusively on Universally Speaking right here, right now, that this match will open the show. That's right, in an attempt to not have these 6 men in the building for the entire night, Shane McMahon has demanded that this match go on absolutely first, and all 6 men are taken from the building immediately after its completion. And if that all isn't enough, of course we know the winner receives a future World Championship match. This one, and I mean this sincerely, ladies and gentlemen, has combustible written all over it. And now, on to the main event of the evening. The only men's world title on the line, and it's 2 of the hardest hitting men in the company. Samoa Joe defends Big Gold against Big E Langston in a true clash of the titans. In the rubble of the chaos of Monday Night Raw, 2 men have emerged the leaders of the Red brand, and they face off for the top prize in the game. Samoa Joe won the championship at the Royal Rumble over AJ Styles and Brock Lesnar, and while that is a major accomplishment, it didn't come purely from Joe by himself. So he called out anyone on the roster for some real competition in order to prove himself. And the man that would step up, Big E Langston. Big E has had a very storied history in the WWE recently, breaking away from the New Day in order to join a newly formed D-Generation X, but when that venture failed, and he was blamed entirely by the founder of the group, Triple H, his career really took a turn. He would face off against Triple H, defeating the game and silencing all the doubters. And since then, Big E has been on a trajectory that can only be comparable to the likes of Rusev and Apollo Crews. Could this indeed be the crowning moment of his career? Or will the Samoan submission machine just do what he does? And that's keep his promises. We can't be sure, but we do know one thing that is promised, and that is this is going to be one of the most hard-hitting matches you've ever seen. So No Way Out is just days away, ladies and gentlemen, but if you simply can't wait, you can actually watch it right now via early access. Sign up as a mid-carder or above on Patreon, or if you click the join button right here on YouTube and sign up for the Superstar tier, you can watch the show right now. Don't miss it. Notifications on for this one. It's going to be one of the biggest shows in the history of the entire series. We are on the road to WrestleMania. And as always, from EarthsYT13, thank you so much for watching. And I'll see you at No Way Out.